would you do if a stranger broke into your dojo, defeated you and your best men, and then claimed to know your father better than you do? That is how this story begins. But to understand it, we must go back 8 years, in the middle of a forgotten war. The story takes us to Tokyo in the 50s, where James shows up at a small dojo, having completely ignored all rules of decency. Not only has he crashed a masterclass, but he has arrived shouting that he wants to see the leader immediately. He points to a photo on the wall so that the person in charge knows who he is talking about. The man replies that it is his father and he will not allow him to be disrespected in his home, so he gives the order, and we start with the good stuff. James not only surprises them by knowing the master's fighting style, but he has also fused that style with his own technique, attacking his opponent's weak points. Soon, most of them fall, and the son of the man James is looking for Stops' men, asking him what connection he could possibly have with his father. What bond can unite a son of honor with a son of war? Sometimes the past does not return to heal wounds, but to open new ones. So we travel to the past. 8 years will be enough in 1942, and we are at war. Planes fly over the province of Bataan in Southeast Asia, and many are shot down over the jungle. In the middle of the night, soaked and exhausted, James drags a man's body to the shore. At that moment, he sees a plane shot down only a few hundred meters from his position. At dawn, the unit of soldiers arrives in the area and quickly notices the trail left by James. This trail ends up leading them into a trap, and James eliminates 2 soldiers in less time than they need to react. The body falls onto a mine, and while the soldiers remains rained down, the blast attracts everyone else. They quickly surround James and place him under arrest. He is now a prisoner of war, one of the worst situations one can be in, so they take him to the prisoner camp where many await the end of the war to learn their fate. The man in the photo is Commander Ito, who is in charge. He decides who lives or dies in this place. When Ito finds out that James is British and not American, he orders them to cut off his head. Man who measures value with nationalities, a symbol of honor who becomes an executioner because of a label on a passport, the fear of the different disguised as discipline. However, someone with his training is not so easy to kill, and even less so in such a dishonorable way. James does not just wait for the right moment to react. He also snatches the katana from the soldier and kills them all with it. Then he flees into the woods, but ends up falling into a trap placed under the leaves and is taken back to Ito. Ito orders his men to bring Hirano, the man responsible for trying to kill James, but they inform him that the prisoner killed him and 2 others. Upon checking James, they discover that he is a decorated soldier and an Air Force commander. So for him to have a horrible death, they send him to the pit. When they take James away, Ito kneels and pays tribute to Hirano, his brother, who now lies dead in the forest. That night, they put James in a hut with other prisoners. There he meets Gabriel, who is Mexican, but fights for the United States. Even though James's days are numbered, the rest tell him what they know about the current situation. Escaping the camp is not the problem. The traps and the 60 miles of jungle that surround him are. Next morning, James witnesses the routine before his death. Later, they put him in the center of the pit, and a soldier with a katana approaches. At first, it seems they will decapitate him, but the soldier moves his sword and cuts his bindings. 2 seconds later, Nito appears, the best fighter in the camp, with whom James will battle to the death. Nito's orders were to make him suffer. Those were the orders. That does not mean he could carry them out. With a single lethal blow, James breaks his neck and sends him to the other world. According to tradition, James has earned the right to stay alive, news that not many soldiers accept out of respect for Hirano. Collins, the leader of the prisoners, tells him this is not over. No one had beaten Nito, and the guards are surely upset. Nito is upset, but he still respects tradition. And for now, he cannot kill him. Though that does not mean this is over. The next morning, 3 of the very best fighters in the whole camp are waiting in the pit to avenge Hirano, but James is ready for all of them. Unlike Nito, James does not enjoy causing harm. His fists are like hammers that, with just contact, knock people out. Those who manage to survive lose to his technique and elaborate joint locks. The problem is that everyone who loses and fails to avenge Hirano loses more than just consciousness. They are all executed at sunset. What is the point of a victory if every blow leads to a new execution? Winning in this place is just a postponement of death. James knows he cannot defeat everyone. Someday he will get tired and they will kill him. That is why they need a plan, and the first step is to get a radio. Prisoners help him. They create a distraction, and James climbs to the tower to steal what they need. The plan works, but James is seen by Teresa, the camp nurse, who does not report him to the guards. Teresa is the crack in the armor of horror. In a system where everything cuts, she is the only one who heals, the flower in the middle of a minefield. James gives the radio to Beard, the only one among them who speaks Japanese, so he can write down everything he hears, with the promise to take him with him when they escape. The next morning, James witnesses an execution. 2 men were caught with extra food and were decapitated as punishment. Knowing that his fate is approaching, he decides to find a way to leave the camp without being seen. He takes the radio, follows the route that one of the decapitated men gave to Beard, and escapes the camp with the radio, but the guys were right. There's only jungle around him and everything is very far away, although he hears something hopeful. On one of the boats in the bay, they speak Navajo, a language that could be his way out of this place. Additionally, James sees a downed glider, which could work if they manage to drag it 1 mile to the runway. That will be their exit from this hell. Ito sends for him to ask if he knows the Navajo language. He knows. There are Indian boats nearby and they want to find them, but James does not plan to help him kill those who could be his salvation. For refusing to collaborate with Ito, James pays the price. 12 lashes on his back are enough to make him reconsider his decision. With each chime, the soldiers strike James's body with all their strength, until finally, at the 12th chime, James falls. But when the soldiers believe they have finally tamed him, the tiger inside him roars again. James strikes the soldiers so hard that none of the others dare to intervene. Even Ito feels threatened and sentences James to the march. By the time James wakes up, he is in the infirmary. 2 days have passed, and as soon as he can stand, he will serve his sentence. That night, explosions are heard in the bay. War is heading toward them. Ito is worried about the Navajos. Their transmissions are heard nearby, and perhaps they are not just fishing boats. Later, Beard shows him something he caught on the radio, a message from the High Command, where it orders that, if they are attacked, they must execute the prisoners so they do not recount what happened there. Before dawn, James slips out with Gabriel to check the glider, but they run into a soldier. Although the ideal would be to kill him, James spares him and he helps them in gratitude. However, the guards saw Collins and the next morning they were going to execute him. Before the execution, Collins will receive a beating to break his spirit a little. Suddenly, Collins goes crazy, fights with all his might, and tears out a soldier's jugular with a bite. He is going to die and plans to take as many soldiers as he can with him. The group knows they do not have much time left to live, so James escapes the camp once more to use the radio. Beard has managed to notice a few words in Navajo, and if they say them with an attack tone, perhaps they can divert Ito's attention. The message not only puts Ito on alert, but James uses the words fire and hill. This will surely make the Japanese think that an air attack is approaching. James ends the message with the sunrise, and if the Navajos manage to deduce it, Ito's hours are numbered. The problem is that when they return to the camp, there is no one in the huts, and the soldiers are on high alert. James and Gabriel are knocked out. The next morning, planes fly over the camp's hill and the bombs begin to fall. James does not know if they are the Navajos or who they contacted, but his message worked, and now they must get out of there as soon as possible. Teresa frees them, but tells them that Ito is executing everyone and that the soldiers are at war. It is time to run, or everyone will die. The planes attack the camp and the soldiers kill all the prisoners. The radio they had is destroyed and they need the other one. Once they climb to the control tower, James can see how the soldiers execute everyone before leaving. Unable to watch Beard die, James takes a risk and opens fire from the tower. Gabriel discovers that it is the Americans who are attacking and uses his credentials to request an extraction. James saves Beard, who makes his way toward them. The rest follow via the escape route they created earlier. Everyone except Collins, who was not executed but tortured. Now he has a pending revenge with Ito's right-hand man and does not plan to leave without taking his life first. Before he can kill him, his soldiers save him and kill Collins. James manages to reach Ito, who was about to commit seppuku, but upon seeing that James is still alive, it is time for them to have their final encounter. James manages to overcome his cuts and lunges at Ito, but before he can kill him, Gabriel appears and tells him that they are running out of time. Both flee toward the jungle, where the glider awaits them, and now they only have a leap of faith left to get out of there alive. An allied plane offers them cover, and among the dead soldiers is the boy who helped them before. The rescue plane passes, catches the rope left by James, and pulls the glider successfully until it lifts off and takes him out of there alive. From the heights, James says goodbye to those he left behind, men who will be executed in the coming days or sent to the pit. We return to the dojo where James asks the boy once more where Ito is. He reveals that Ito passed away a year ago but told him about the secret technique that James is hiding, and he is willing to die to see it. After a couple of blows, the boy feels his ribs broken, but still asks to see the Fist of Rain. James grants him the honor. In a gesture of gratitude for his generosity, the boy hands him the medal that Ito snatched from him the day they met. James did not return for revenge. He returned to close a circle, to understand what remains of a man after being stripped of everything. Homeland, name, honor, because in war no one comes out unscathed. Some lose their lives, others lose their souls, and even if we understand why someone became a monster, that is never the same as justifying it. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is choosing not to repeat the violence that formed us and letting the past finally rest in peace. If you made it this far, why don't you click on this video that I recommend below? I assure you that you are gonna love it.